Okay, so I want to talk to someone, you, the person who is dealing with work fatigue, about what work fatigue is. So we're going to go ahead and go over a simple definition for you. Work fatigue is a prolonged multi layered strain on the mind, the body, and the spirit that develops when a working adult, especially someone of the protected class, faces more pressure, responsibility, or workplace conflict than the human system can safely absorb. I want you to know that it's not laziness, it's not weakness, it's not mental illness. It is the body's early warning signal that lets your workplace conditions signals that your workplace conditions are longer are no longer, safe, aligned, or sustainable. Hi, I'm Glennae Davis. I am the founder and CEO at Glennae's RX for Life. We are a career burnout consultancy and healthcare education agency where we specialize in workplace mental health, particularly in the areas of work, moral distress, accommodation, interactive process. We find over our last 10 years of study of research is that those are the areas most employees, be it black or white, suffer the most issues of discrimination, systemic racism in the workplace, and failure to access their rights equitable, and causes mental health issues, systemic autoimmune issues, high blood pressure, kidney failure, cortical steroid storms, just a whole bunch of preventative, excuse me, preventative stress related diseases. And so if you're interested, this is only for people who are interested in preventing healthcare disparities or health disparities, I should say. Many of you would prefer to just go to the doctor, get diagnosed, take a pill, be done with it. But who's most at risk? Work fatigue most often affects nurses and healthcare workers, faith based professionals who believe in serving, giving, and helping, college educated black women, and other protected class professionals, people carrying moral injury, racism, discrimination, and retaliation, high performing adults who push through instead of pausing, people navigating long term stress. More than 6 weeks is considered chronic stress. Anyone preparing to access areas of workplace protections that protects your job and protects your employability, like FMLA, your ADA, HR compliance. So, work fatigue hits hardest when you are scared to use your rights. Stand, open up your mouth to voice your concerns when you're afraid something is about to go wrong, when you're trying to keep your job despite mistreatment, and trying to trust God while the system bends your spirit. So, what causes work fatigue? Work fatigue develops when a person is exposed to sustained pressures such as bullying, hostility, discrimination, and microaggressions, unfair workloads, unsafe staffing, and moral distress, retaliation for speaking up, gaslighting from leadership or HR, lack of support, clarity, and boundaries, high expectations with low protection, role conflict or ethical misalignment, chronic emotional labor, like black professionals, we suffer immensely in the workplace in a lot of these areas, and it goes ignored, repeatedly choosing strength over self preservation. So, what are the symptoms? How do work fatigue show up in you? It could be physical fatigue, headaches, tension in the body. You wear your shoulders as earrings, right? You squeeze your buttocks tightly in, hold in all the BS that's going on at work, okay? Exhaustion, sometimes extreme exhaustion, sleep disruptions, and cortisol spikes. This is where your weight gain come in and you're craving for sugars and carbs, and then mental fatigue. When you have brain fog, you seem to be forgetful, forgetting things, you're slow thinking, you're not processing the way you used to, you're feeling overwhelmed, and there's a lot of confusion going on within yourself. I want to call in to work, but my team needs me. I want to ask for vacation, but I don't think that I can take a week off. Emotional fatigue, irritability, dread, sadness, shutdown, withdrawal, emotional numbness. If you're counting the days of the week, or if your Monday grind seems to be lasting all day long, you all week long, you can be experiencing work fatigue. Then we have ethical fatigue, moral distress, conscious conflict, your faith versus your finances, you doing the will of God, you honoring the 10 Commandments while you're an employee. These are ethical and spiritual issues also. This is ethical, it's the physical form of your spiritual responsibility. So ethical fatigue is discomfort with workplace decisions and spiritual heaviness weighing on you. Should I have done that? Should I say that? Should I pull this person to the side and confront them? Then we have spiritual fatigue, feeling disconnected from God because you're not honoring those 10 commandments. And maybe you're that person who I spoke of earlier who just decides to go ahead and get a medical diagnosis and take the pill and do as the medical professional says, when what you actually need is access and support, access to your workplace rights and support. So the spiritual fatigue is feeling disconnected from God, praying but feeling drained, losing peace, losing spirituality. You feel pressed by workplace injustices. And maybe you're something like I was when I was in the midst of going through 4 years of systemic employment discrimination based on disability. I had to wonder, where is the God I serve in the middle of all of this hell? So when you are led into the mental health industry behind your workplace issues, remember, psych means soul. So, could it be that you are being asked to consider your soul about the workplace fatigue that you are experiencing and what it is that you should be doing next? Okay? We want to help you understand what you should be doing next. What is God asking you to do, and how can we support you to do that? Why work fatigue is so dangerous? Because when work fatigue is ignored, the system steps in and labels you before it helps you, if it ever helps you, right? Unchecked work fatigue leads to leave misuse, misdiagnosis, wrongful psychiatric labeling, unnecessary medications, FMLA complications, disability risk, and retaliation, as well as a damage to your record. If you're a police officer or if you are a registered nurse, even if you're a doctor, you can't be having these labels on you, these mental illness labels. Let's get you some mental health labels so that you are empowered, that you are the professional that you were hired to be, instead of this coward who's afraid to access workplace rights. Like you don't have a God. You have a God. His name is Yahweh. And you have an example to follow. His name is Yeshua HaMashiach. You may know him as Jesus Christ. Um, Damaged records and career instability and blacklisting. Work fatigue is the stage before the system harms you. So here's the faith-based reality that I want all the listeners who understand what it is that I am saying to you to grasp onto and to really to hone in. Work fatigue often forces you into the hardest spiritual position of your life. The workplace is the dichotomy between good and evil. We will be judged on what we did for our paycheck. So, trusting Yahweh in a place that is hurting you is your responsibility. You don't quit the job unless God is telling you to quit. You move through the system because the way to your promised land is through the challenge. We're going to show you how to get there, okay? Spiritual position of your life, trusting Yahweh in a place that is hurting you. You're praying, you're discerning, you are discerning because you're recognizing and realizing that things are happening and you are looking for help. You are looking for assistance. You're going to the doctor, you're calling your attorneys, you're asking HR, you're pulling your manager to the side. So you're discerning that things are happening, but you're not discriminating what you need to be doing. Biblically, oh God, why am I just can't talk today. Biblically, yes. You're trying to stay faithful while also trying to stay employed. You can only serve one God, one master. And I've been telling my clients and students for almost 10 years now that you do everything your employer is telling you to do according to the flesh. But when they mess with this mind and moral distress starts to happen, whatever causes you conflict and moral distress, you have to understand that your employer has just changed and you cannot serve two masters. This is why protected class professionals need the clarity before the crises and why your quiz and your guidance matters. The purpose of our work fatigue quiz is to show working adults where they are, why it's happening, how serious it is, what rights you have that you need to consider right now and to do next, what tools are available to you, right? David had a rock for a slingshot. It's as simple as that, I promise you. How to avoid mislabeling, misclassification, or retaliation, and how to protect your career and your peace before crises hit. Work fatigue is not a diagnosis, it is a warning, and our quiz is the way to help you out of it before damage is done to you. So I'm going to leave the link for your work fatigue quiz. If you are having any issues in the workplace and just want to see where you are and what possibly you should do next, if the Lord is vexing you to do something in the workplace and things are happening at policy and you feel this on your mental and on your physical and ethically and spiritually and physically, take the quiz. Figure out where you are, okay? So that we can help you prevent a misdiagnosis. Until next time, be well. Bye.